Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're going to unpack a profound and honestly kind of hidden psychological and spiritual paradox. I mean, think about it. We spend so much of our lives trying to build resilience, right? We're always trying to figure out how to stand on our own 2 feet when life inevitably throws a curveball. But what if the very spiritual strength we work so hard to cultivate, that unshakable reliance on the divine, actually carries a hidden risk? Today, we're drawing from the deep philosophical insights of Bediüzzaman's Sayyid Nursi to explore this fascinating tension. It's this delicate, absolute tightrope walk between ultimate spiritual independence and our fundamental human need for one another. It's a brilliant look at how our highest virtues can, if we're not super careful, literally create our biggest blind spots. So I want you to stop right now and genuinely ask yourself, who do you turn to first in a difficult moment? Picture a sudden crisis. The ground shakes beneath you, so to speak. You get some terrible news, a major project falls apart, or maybe a relationship just fractures. What is your absolute, split-second, literal first reflex? Do you instantly grab your phone to text a friend? Do you scan the room for someone, anyone, to fix it? Or do you take a deep breath, pause, and retreat inward to find your grounding before you do anything else? We all have a default setting, and that automatic response to hardship, it actually reveals a whole lot about where we draw our ultimate sense of security. Generally speaking, we see two totally different human reactions when things go south. On one side, we've got looking outward. This is that knee-jerk instinct to immediately seek help, comfort, or a quick fix from our surroundings, usually from other people. It's highly reactive. But on the flip side, we have looking inward and upward. Now, this is the conscious choice to calm down, center yourself, and make a decision rooted in inner faith and a reliance on a higher power. It's a much more grounded approach for sure. But here is the absolute crucial question we really need to explore today. Do both of these paths ultimately lead to the exact same destination? Does one make you inherently better off, or do they each come with their own unique baggage? To answer that, we have to dive into a core concept from Bediüzzaman Sayyid Nursi's writings, the people of guidance. These are individuals who have cultivated this just profound inner strength. They rely entirely on truth, and they trust absolutely solely in their Lord's help. And because they know their ultimate support comes from the divine, they carry this really unique, self-sufficient dignity. This is basically the thesis of our explainer today. See, when these folks feel weak or they're facing totally insurmountable odds, they don't panic. They aren't running around begging people to save them. No, they turn directly to their Lord. And honestly, it is an incredibly beautiful, powerful, and liberating state of being. They carry themselves with this immense, quiet honor because they're anchored to something completely permanent and unshakable. But, and this is a massive but, this strong stance actually has a hidden price. Let's hit the brakes for a second, because this is where the narrative takes a really sharp, unexpected turn. This is the antithesis to that beautiful spiritual independence we were just talking about. It turns out that having an unshakable connection to the divine, while deeply honorable, can actually create a massive psychological blind spot. It's wild, but when you reach a point where you feel entirely supported by God, this super subtle shift can happen in how you view the people around you. The very strength that gives your dignity can paradoxically begin to chip away at your sense of community. Let's actually break down the anatomy of this social breakdown, step by step. So it starts at step 1, inner strength. As we just established, this is a beautiful thing, but look at how it morphs in step 2 into a lack of need for others. Because these individuals feel so spiritually self-sufficient, they literally stop feeling that natural human need for solidarity, especially with people who might have totally different temperaments or approaches to life. And then, well, this isolation starts brewing into step 3, pride and self-righteousness. When you feel like you don't need anyone, selfishness and ego can quietly just slip right in the back door. You start thinking, well, I have the ultimate truth, I rely on the ultimate source, so obviously I'm entirely right and everyone else is just wrong. And that mindset inevitably leads us to the tragic conclusion in step 4, division and disunity. What started as this pure, noble reliance on the Lord has somehow devolved into a completely fractured community. So that brings us to the synthesis of our whole paradox here. Look, feeling spiritually self-sufficient is a wonderful, amazing achievement. But falling into the delusion of, I don't need anyone, that is a dangerous, ego-driven trap. True inner strength doesn't make human solidarity unnecessary. It simply elevates the entire motivation behind it. Just think about that for a second. If you're desperate and terrified, you seek out other people because you want them to save you, right? It's purely transactional. But if you have true inner strength and reliance on the divine, you no longer need people to save you. Which means when you do engage in solidarity with others, you're doing it out of pure love, a shared purpose, and a genuine desire to build a unified community. You're connecting with them not out of some frantic need, but out of a dignified, conscious choice. The ultimate anchor for this entire philosophical argument actually comes from a really profound Quranic verse. It's from Surah At-Talaq, chapter 65, verse 3. It says, "Whoever relies on Allah, He is sufficient for him." Now, this is the foundational truth that gives the people of guidance their immense dignity. The divine is indeed absolutely sufficient. But understanding this verse fully means marrying this divine trust with our everyday human reality. Acknowledging that God is sufficient for your ultimate spiritual and existential needs, that doesn't cancel out the humble, totally human requirement to walk arm in arm with your fellow human beings. It just means your trust is perfectly placed vertically, which then frees you up to engage horizontally with the world in a really healthy, united, and completely non-arrogant way. So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one final, honestly kind of haunting question. Take a second to really let this sink in. In the moments you felt most strong, have you ever forgotten the need for solidarity with others? Have you ever let your own competence, your own faith, or even your own inner peace become an excuse to build a wall between yourself and the rest of humanity? Because the true test of our spiritual reliance isn't just how well we can stand all alone in a storm. It's whether we actually remember to reach out and hold the hands of those standing in the rain right there with us. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I really hope this sparks some deep reflection on your own balance between inner strength and community connection.